In X-Men 97 Season 2, Rogue and Gambit probably won't be playing basketball anymore because Apocalypse has completely changed the game. But does that make the Marvel Legends X-Men 97 Rogue and Gambit Basketball 2-pack a massive mistake to buy right now? Living in Australia, I paid MAFEX money for a Marvel Legends 2-pack. Did I instantly regret spending that much money on what some collectors are calling an overpriced pair of head sculpts? Because this Rogue head might be the most cartoon accurate Hasbro has ever made. The problem? Casual collectors will see the price tag and walk away. But if you want the definitive animated series Rogue, Hasbro leaves you with no choice but to pick this one up. Since this 2-pack cost MAFEX money, let's see whether this Marvel Legends Rogue head sculpt looks better on a MAFEX body. To my surprise, it really does look good on the MAFEX Rogue body. The 3 MAFEX head sculpts are already great looking, giving Rogue 3 different expressions. But does this single Marvel Legends head outclass all 3 from the import? Still, the price tag for a single Rogue head still bothers me. But what do you think? As expected, Rogue is doing most of the heavy lifting when it comes to justifying the cost of this 2-pack. As for Gambit, well, just this once, I actually wish Hasbro hadn't been so accurate with him. More on that a bit later. Let's try switching the soft goods between Marvel Legends Rogue and MAFEX Rogue. The ripped shirt on the MAFEX Rogue is slightly larger, given that MAFEX bodies are slimmer and smaller than Marvel Legends. However, the MAFEX jacket on the Marvel Legends Rogue looks great and gives her a proper half jacket look. Although when you look at the shoulders, you can see that this jacket is too small for her. Since the MAFEX jacket is too small, let's try the GPS slot jacket, which is custom tailored for a Marvel Legends body. It looks great, but as expected, it's a full-length jacket, not the comic book accurate crop half jacket. And to answer the question of whether adding a jacket to this basketball Rogue body gives you a 90s comic book accurate Chimley Rogue, it doesn't. That's because her basketball attire actually has slight differences in the legs and the footwear. Going back to Gambit, while I was researching X-Men 97, I discovered that early concept art actually features him wearing a black ripped shirt. He does wear that exact black shirt for a split second in X-Men 97 Episode 1, but it never really registered as his final basketball look. This is one case where I truly wished Hasbro had stuck with the early concept art and included some cloth goods to cover up that body. Because just like in Episode 1, when Gambit goes shirtless, Rogue's immediate reaction is to push him away. Since this Marvel Legends X-Men 97 Rogue head is easily the best we've ever received, I want to maximize my purchase by testing it out on every other Marvel Legends Rogue figure in my collection. Starting off with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants Rogue. She definitely deserves a head sculpt upgrade. Dropping this new head onto the older body immediately gives you her final look from the end of X-Men 97 Season 1. For this kit bash, the neck on the Brotherhood body is a bit long, so you'll have to pose her head leaning slightly forward so it doesn't look off. Once it's set, this is the exact outfit she is wearing when she arrives in Egypt. Now, it might seem like you're building a standard X-Men 97 Rogue, but that look won't last for long. In Season 2, she'll eventually transition into her Egypt costume, which is loosely based on her post-Secret Wars comic book look. Then towards the end of the season, we'll likely see her shift into the X-Corp aesthetics. Next up, let's look at Outback Rogue. The J. Scott Campbell art style on the original head sculpt makes it one of my absolute favorites. So I was curious if this new animated head could capture that distinct Outback energy any better. What do you think? Does this actually replaces that? Historically, the Outback era was the costume she was wearing right before she ended up trapped in the Savage Land. So does this new head sculpt finally gives us the perfect look we've all been searching for to pair with the Savage Land Rogue body. Not exactly. The skin tone of the Savage Land body is notoriously hard to match with existing Rogue head sculpts. Putting a brighter animated head on a much darker toned body can look a bit off. Meanwhile, the original Savage Land Ana de Armas head lookalike is fully ready to hit the basketball court. How about the classic 90s Rogue energy? Here is the X-Men 97 head sitting on the old Juggernaut Build-A-Figure Wave Rogue. And when I say sitting, I mean it literally is. The head is not connected to the neck. The problem with this old Moonstone body mold is that the neck peg is incredibly short. I had to use a bit of blue tack or sticky tack just to keep it in place. Otherwise, it falls right off. The exact same is true if you prefer the lighter shade of yellow on the retro cardback Rogue. The head sits on there the same way. While the head sculpts look incredible here, the body mold is another story. This torso is one of the oldest female bucks in the Marvel Legends vault, the exact same one they reused for the Age of Apocalypse Rogue. The legs on the X-Men 97 Rogue basketball figure might look updated since they replaced the high knee boots with low-cut shoes, but the proportions are still dated. If we swap the head sculpts between the Age of Apocalypse and the X-Men 97 version, here is the final result. Moving on, let's try the X-Men Legacy Rogue head swap. This obviously isn't going to be comic book accurate, but I really wanted to see how this animated head transforms this figure. It takes the legacy look from gritty and intense to a much more charming classic animated style. The final head swap is with the standard X-Men 97 Season 1 Retro Rogue. In the comments below, let me know how much of an upgrade are we actually getting. And after all these head swaps, I'm starting to think Rogue might actually justify the aftermarket price. Unfortunately, Gambit is where things starts to fall apart. Let me know in the comments below, if Hasbro sold this Rogue head sculpt separately, would you still buy the 2-pack? Because I have a feeling many collectors only wanted one thing from this entire release. And did you know she is from right here in Australia too?
And you know, Sugar, when people ask me, are you from the South? I say, yeah, Sugar, I'm from as far south as you can go. I am from Australia. So hold on tight, Sugars, because I'm feeling a little touchy today.
This is my Unstoppable X-Men 97 Rogue and Gambit review, which I spent MAFEX money. And when I say that, it just doesn't include Rogue, it also includes Gambit on the most desirable body ever. We know this is the Hasbro starting lineup body mold, and while the head sculpt looks good, it isn't enough to save the rest of the figure. I really would have preferred another facial expression or a hairstyle that represents his civilian, at-home look in the X-Mansion. Let's see if, like Rogue, this head sculpt can actually upgrade older Gambit Marvel Legends. To my surprise, you can't easily use this new head sculpt for your other Marvel Legends Gambit figures, because this new body utilizes a unique mold, not your standard Marvel Legends body. The neck peg is completely different in size. The only real kit bash you can pull off here is putting the older Marvel Legends Gambit heads onto the new starting lineup body. Let's test that out, starting with the Strike Force uniform Gambit. The head sits loose on the peg and is definitely going to need some help staying in place with a bit of blue tack or sticky tack. Next, let's see how the Age of Apocalypse Gambit head swap look. And finally, how about throwing in onto a classic 90s Jim Lee costume using the MAFEX Gambit body. Despite the shortcomings of this new basketball Gambit, he does come with a solid selection of hands, 5 in total, all uniquely sculpted to match his signature fingerless gloves. Now, does that mean you can use these hands to upgrade your other Marvel Legends Gambit figures? Yes and no, Because this starting lineup body uses unique tooling, these hands are scaled differently. They're actually a bit smaller than a standard Marvel Legends hand. You can technically plug them in on other figures, but from certain angles, the smaller size is definitely noticeable. Still, 5 hands is better than Rogue's 4. Well, actually, for me, it's only 3 hands because one of them snapped right off while I was removing it. It's a reminder to me that this is not MAFEX, only MAFEX priced figures. It's a Marvel Legends with a gummy plastic hand, so the damage is permanent. So, are the remaining hands any good? Well, they aren't broken, but she comes packed with a pair of tiny baby-sized closed fists. Just to show you how small these actually are, here they are next to the Wave 1 X-Men 97 Rogue. If you swap the hands over, you can immediately see that the Wave 1 hands are the correct size for her proportions. Look, it's fine to reuse parts, but reusing completely undersized hands makes me wonder why Hasbro keeps doing this. The X-Men 97 Rogue in her basketball attire stands at 15.5 centimeters or 6.1 inches tall. When it comes to scale, this makes her slightly too tall compared to her official animated series height of 5 feet 8 inches. Meanwhile, the X-Men 97 Gambit on the starting lineup body stands 16.5 centimeters or 6.5 inches tall. Giving him the body of a professional basketball player makes him look way too tall compared to his actual animated series height of 6 feet 2 inches. To see how they scale with figures in our collection, besides the big bad of X-Men 97 Season 2, the 6-inch scale Marvel Legends Retro Apocalypse, and the 7-inch scale Diamond Select Toys Marvel Select Apocalypse. Here is the Marvel Legends Basketball Rogue and Gambit besides other Marvel Legends Rogue in her 90s costume, and the 1/12 scale MAFEX Rogue. The tallest one is a 7-inch scale Marvel Select Rogue. Here is the Basketball Gambit and Rogue besides other Marvel Legends Rogue figures. As mentioned a while ago, there is a comic book connection between the Outback Rogue and Savage Land Rogue. Here is this Marvel Legends X-Men 97 2-pack besides other Marvel Legends Gambit and the 1/12 scale MAFEX Gambit. For a few more Marvel Legends figures in their X-Men 97 costumes, Cyclops and Jean Grey, Polaris, and the Savage Land Professor X. Marvel Legends Gambit and Rogue besides X-Men 97 Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Jean Grey, and Cyclops. Here they are besides X-Men 97 Wave 3, Morph, Emma Frost, and some of the members of X-Force, Sunspot, Jubilee, and Cable. They are taller than the MAFEX X-Men Blue Team roster of Wolverine, Cyclops, Jubilee, and Psylocke. Here they are besides the shortest Jada Toys Street Fighter, Cammy, and Darna by Halimo Sculptures and LooseCollector. Let's just go over key points of articulation. As expected with the large hair, Rogue cannot move her head up at all. An old torso design means she does not have butterfly joints. However, her arms and legs are up to date with double jointed pinless elbows and knees. Gambit is in a newer body which has butterfly joints, but I need to heat them up further because the range is not that good at all. It did reveal a few more structural details you probably don't want to see. The ab crunch completely ruins his silhouette, which is exactly why Hasbro should have included a cloth goods to cover that up. Even though he wears shorts, there is an upper thigh swivel hidden inside. Also hidden is a boot cut along his socks. Was it really worth it? For me, it's all about completing my Rogue collection and I really wanted to add that head sculpt for kitbash purposes. But the price still really stings because it's a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. Purchasing it at a later stage only makes things more expensive. Its relevance to the X-Men 97 Season 2 storyline might be zero, which also might prevent you from picking up this one. How about you? Would you pick up this set now? Let me know in the comments below. This video is part of my massive X-Men series celebrating X-Men 97 Season 2. If you want to see more rankings and figure breakdowns, click the playlist link in the top right corner of your screen. Thank you for watching. It's like a pat on the back for me when you engage by a comment or a like. It encouraged me to keep pushing out this level of quality and lets me know I'm making helpful content meaningful for the X-Men community. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to smash that hype button, flick that like button, subscribe, and share this with our fellow X-Men 97 fans. Also, if you're looking to pick up any of the figures featured today, I left some links in the description below. Have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next one.